Hey everyone. So I want to talk a little bit about igniting the healer within. You are able to heal your own body. There's nobody else in this world that can do it for you. So there's also nothing external that you can take that is going to cure or heal you. There are no cures. You are perfect. You are whole. And you are showered with divine intelligence that is way smarter than our minds are, and it's hard to even conceive of. But when we start to move out of the way of our own body, then it starts to heal itself. Just like you don't have to put much mind power, conscious power into digesting your food or having your heart beat. Your healing processes in the body are automatic. They're ingrained within you. And we have this cellular genetic memory encoded in our DNA that tells our body, tells ourselves how to express itself. It's really just a matter of getting out of our own way. And that could be on an emotional level. There's a lot of people that identify with a certain disorder or disease, and once we start to recognize how perfect we are and how intelligently created we are, and once we start to love ourselves truly, then we can start to heal. So to ignite the healer within is really, it's just your opportunity to be able to get in alignment with the divine. And if you're not spiritual, then we can talk about it in different language. I can talk about it in a scientific language. But it's really, just about finding the right words that we can communicate with. So, as many who watch Dr. Morse will get a little bored with this, but I'm going to start with simplicity. So, we're just made up of a bunch of cells and two fluids. The guy who invented the microscope, Leeuwenhoek, or I don't know if he invented it, but he put the term to cell because it's the smallest self-sustaining organism when he was able to look in the microscope. So that cell is actually immortal. I was driving down the road, and on the sign for the library, it was The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, I think was her last name. Anyways, they're called HeLa cells in the science world. So they use these HeLa cells for all sorts of scientific experiments. You can look it up on Wikipedia or whatever. But they even say that the cell, this strain of cells, is immortal. Well, let me tell you something. All of our cells are immortal. What makes them immortal? Well, you need to put them in the right environment. So anything that's in the right environment will survive or even thrive. And what makes our cells thrive? Well, what surrounds every single cell is two fluids. One fluid feeds the cell, and one fluid takes away the waste. So there's the kitchen. In the body, we have a kitchen, and we have a sewer system. And so each of these fluids are around the cell, and if the fluids continue to flow and serve the function of the cell, then the cells can go on living for a long time or even be immortal. And in the house, the community that I currently live in, the man who owns the house that I live in actually is a seeker of immortals. He has found many immortals. His prerequisite was that they needed to be 300 years old, and he's found many that are 800 or even thousands of years old. And whether or not you believe that, it doesn't matter. You can look at science and see that they also have cells. I mean, they're not 300 years old, but cells like I said, are able to, in the right environment, they're immortal. So, how do we become immortal? That's a good question. And maybe a topic of another video. But for now, we're going to just talk about simplicity and the 100 trillion cells that make up every tissue in your body and the fluids that flow around them. These two fluids, the kitchen and the sewer system, like I said, they are the blood, your lifeline. We hear about that in a lot of ancient texts as well, the blood and how important that is to keep pure and clean. Well, your body is so intelligent that it does everything it can to keep this kitchen clean. But the unfortunate truth is today, our sewer systems are so backed up intracellularly, that means in between the cells, that it's overflowing into the blood. And so when you go and get blood tests done, then if something is showing up in the blood, that's when you know that something is really wrong. And usually things have been going wrong before then, but all the tests weren't able to see what was wrong because the majority of the fluid in your body, at least 75% of the fluid in your body, is where the bacteria, the fungus, the yeast, these things are living. And the sewer system is where we have a problem. It's every cell in our body eliminates acidic waste. We are an alkaline species, but yet we move acids out of our cells. And so acids are dehydrating and they're crystalline in structure and they coagulate. So it's when you change the environment from an alkaline to an acidic environment, you're completely changing how things flow, essentially. So if we first of all can alkalize your system, alkalize your body, which we do with fruits, berries, and melons, because, and also some vegetables, it depends where you are in transition, but we want to transition you to an alkaline state. And I'm sorry, but you're going to have to face the fact that what you put in your mouth is important. It does have an effect. Everything is just basically chemistry and physics. And so we're going to have to clean it out. Fruits, berries, and melons. And it's not so much even about what you're putting in. We are going to focus more on what you are getting out of your body. That is the main focus. Let's see what you can get out. Because yes, you there watching, you have stuff that you need to get out of your body. Everyone does. It's kind of just the nature of the game living in these times that we live in, because we're all breathing in air that's toxic. We're all bathing in water that's toxic. We're all eating food that's been sprayed with something. Even if it's organic, it's still sprayed with chemtrails or something. And so we have all of these things that we need to detoxify from. How often are you cleansing? Probably not enough. And so that is why it is really useful to work with someone so you can get a game plan and you get it laid out for you. Okay, what are our first steps that we want to do here? We want to open the doors, open those channels. We want to start getting the waters to move. Did you know your lymphatic system is named after a water goddess? Because it's the waters of the body. And we see it everywhere, but nobody really knows about the lymphatic system, other than it's pretty important. But it's the majority of the fluid in your body. It's 3/4 of the fluid in your body, just like the earth is 3/4 water. So we're going to start getting that fluid to move, but not until the doors are open. Let's get those doors open. Well, what are the doors? All your channels of elimination. You have 4 of them. Primarily the kidneys, which work as a team with the adrenal glands. So we have the kidneys and the adrenal glands. They're in the middle of the body, so they filter out the acidic waste. And you have one on either side of your body. usually one's weaker than the other. That's just the nature of the game. You have two, one's stronger, one's weaker. And we need to work together with the adrenal glands, the fight or flight or rest and relax. It's the sympathetic, parasympathetic. And just as I was listening to a discussion by a woman who works with heart math, a lot of us are incoherent. We are struggling to rest and relax at the same time we are stressed and have this fight or flight response. So it's very stressful for our adrenal glands. And how do we heal our adrenal glands? You have to rest. And so many people just do not have the time to rest. You really have to take time for yourself to heal your body. And that's a challenge. So we have the kidneys and the adrenal gland team. We have the colon, which I've never seen a clean colon in Iridology. My mentor, Dr. Morse, has never seen a clean colon, and he actually detoxed the man who wrote the book on colon cleansing, Dr. Bernard Jensen. So Dr. Morse got the mucoid plaque out of the man who wrote the book on colon cleansing. So we know that colons are really, they need some cleansing. Third, your third kidney, the skin. Me, I've dealt with acne most of my life, and that shows me automatically that my kidneys are not filtering waste effectively, efficiently, because redness is coming out of my skin. Why would it be red? Eczema, psoriasis, acne, all of these things have redness coming out of the skin because red is what? Acids. Acids are coming out of the skin, and it's burning the skin. Why does the sun burn my skin? It's not the sun. The sun is not burning my skin. The sun is such a powerful healer that it's pulling the acids from my skin. It's pulling the acids out. The acids are burning. The acids are burning the skin. The sun is just pulling. I don't care if you believe me, but it's at least entertaining, right? So the fourth route of elimination is your lungs. I know you're not breathing. I know you're not breathing well. So many of us need to take the time to breathe. I really highly recommend a conscious breathing technique, whether that be in yoga or rebirthing or something you make up yourself, but breathe. Take some time to breathe. And another thing that this woman that I heard tonight talking about is if you're ever really stressed out, to breathe. That's your number one. That's what the Buddha found too. What is something that all of us have in common is the breath. So in Vipassana, we watch our breath. We become very sensitive to where our breath is touching the top of our lip. Inhale. Where is the breath touching inside of our nostrils? Become so sensitive. Once you become sensitive, you can start to observe different places within the body. You go around and you just observe. Oh yes, I am aware of that part of my body. Move on. Oh yes, I feel stiffness or pain there. Just watch it. Don't associate with it. And it will go. Yata bhutu, this will pass. This too shall pass. So we have those four routes of elimination. The kidney adrenal team, the colon, the skin, the lungs. And we have different ways our body tells us that we are too acidic. So our body has three main coping mechanisms to calibrate the acidity in our body to help protect itself, because that is really anybody who tells you that you have an autoimmune disease, walk the other way, because they do not understand the body. There is no way that your body attacks itself. That's not in the nature, the perfection of how your body was designed. So three things are: the liver will produce cholesterol. So cholesterol is an antacid. What do we know about the lymphatic system? Well, it is a lipid-based system, and so we want something that will help to buffer those acids. Why do people take fish oil or coconut oil or any type of oil? Because it's anti-inflammatory, because oils help to buffer acids. So that's one thing. The next thing is retaining water, edema. So if you break a bone, immediately you'll have swelling. Well, what is your body doing? It's protecting itself. It's perfect. It's intelligent. So you're retaining water in this place because you just had trauma, which was an acidic event happened to your body, and your body wants to protect itself, so it will retain water and become a little swollen there. The third thing is calcium. It will leach calcium from connective tissue, from bones and teeth, your mouth. This is why we get cavities, because there's acids. Your mouth is acidic, so your teeth get taken to help protect itself. Also, this is why Tums was so successful, right? The calcium supplement. Well, if you have stomach acid, take some calcium. It'll neutralize those acids. So, three things your body does to protect itself from acids is cholesterol, calcium, and water, edema. So, if you know somebody who has high cholesterol, they are too acidic. If you have muscle cramps, you're too acidic. That's a leaching of calcium from your connective tissue. Okay, so there are 4 stages that your body goes through. 4 processes of the body. Number 1. Oh, I think my cat's gonna make it in all my videos. Okay, number 1 is digestion. So we start digestion in the mouth by chewing. Ideally, you really want to liquefy your foods before you swallow them, because your stomach is not a garbage disposal. Your stomach is one of the only organs in the body that has acids that are created to help break things down. So, okay, so we have digestion, which starts in the mouth. Chew, 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 liquefy, enzymes are created, starts your gastric juices going into your stomach. Next, it goes to your stomach. If you ate lots of carbohydrates like fruit, which would be perfect, then it just goes to your small intestine, starts getting absorbed, which is the second stage process of your body, is absorption. So the little villi in your small intestine and large intestine, which so many people who have celiac disease have the proteins, which are acids, amino acids, have been so corrosive to the villi and broken down, and the people who have celiac are not able to absorb, so they become malabsorbed and then malnourished. So to build those back up, why don't we just eat fruit, which they love? Your colon, everything in your body loves fruit. Fruit is hydrating. It is biochemically alive. It is got all those phytonutrients in it. It's actually karma-less. So what does that mean? Well, everything that we eat, generally except for fruit, knows that it's going to die. Even the vegetables, they've done experiments on this lately. Stress things are elevated in plants that know they're going to die. They did an experiment with a tree in the forest. Well, plants know that they're going to die, but what happens with fruit? Fruit, you don't have to kill the whole plant, right? fruit offers itself to us because we are meant to, there's even someone who believes that we evolved to spread seeds of fruit around the world. Just like my friend Maraya taught me that we could take it a step further and evolved to spread the rocks around the world, such as why the internet was invented. We've spread minerals around the world, reorganized things. So, digestion, absorption, utilization. So after it's absorbed by the little villi, it goes into the bloodstream and is taken to the cells. Well, what happens when the cell, in the cell area, is genetic weakness or trauma has happened there? So there tends to get an accumulation of mucus because of an accumulation of acids. People say inflammation. Well, why the inflammation? Because of the acids. Because acids are abrasive and your body wants to protect itself, the mucosa, so the mucosa produces mucus, and then it just becomes a vicious cycle if you do not cleanse and regenerate and rebuild, because the mucus will just continue to build on top of itself. And that mucus is where things like to live that are not so advantageous to us, like fungus, yeast, bacteria, viruses. These things feed. It's a culturing medium that we are creating for them. It's not them that are the problem. The bacteria are not the problem. What are they feeding on? What are we giving them to feed on? We just need to clean it out and strengthen. So what it looks like is kind of like a plastic bag around a cell. So the cell is not able to uptake nutrition, and the elimination becomes more and more backed up until pretty soon, inside the cell, the acids are burning. Inside the cell, well, this mutates the cell. And this is also another name for cancer, which is not real. I hope that we're getting this point across, that these are just names, a classification system basically for a bunch of people, and we don't need to use it because I'm not diagnosing. This is getting back to symptoms. What are you experiencing in your body? So after the utilization, we have elimination. Every cell eliminates. And just like when we eat food, we eliminate. So many people have backed up colons. I know one of my friends, she said she didn't poop for a month. Like, I don't know, I personally get very grumpy and not happy if I don't go to the bathroom like after a day or two. If I get constipated, I'm not a happy person. So we need to keep those bowels moving and healthy. When we were in utero, we started off as a cell, and then we needed to take in nutrition. So that is why in Iridology we have the pupil, which is the central nervous system. And around that we have the stomach. And around that we have the colon, because we needed to eliminate waste after we took it in. And in more holistic practices, everyone will focus on bowel health for a good reason, because everything drains into the bowel. There are little buds in the bowels that are connected to every place in our body, because we are all, it's all just stemmed out of the bowels. First, the heart buds out. So we're this little funny, like peanut looking thing, and the heart is right in the center. Then we have the endocrine glands that form out of that, or out of the bowel still. But it's this bowel right on outside of the bowel, endocrine glands in the heart, and then everything else, your extremities, your organs and glands. Kind of hold this up just to see. You can see it. So the stomach's not on this one, but it's right in between the colon and the pupil. So we have everything stemming out of the bowel. So what does this mean? We need to clean up the bowels really well so that everything starts draining. The transverse colon has to drain before your head is able to drain. So we have to reiterate this. It's so important. The kidneys and the adrenal glands are really, really important to check how you're filtering acidic waste. Some people may be concerned about this, but this is the #1 health test you can do, is to pee in a jar. Are you filtering? These ones are more mucus. So these people, this person is cleansing herself. She's been detoxing from breast cancer for a while now, and she's moving lymph big time. And you can see on the bottom here are more acids. So when you start peeing in a jar, it is really fun. In my experience, I love looking at what comes out of me. So you pee in a jar and you're looking for, you want it to settle, so you want it to cool down. So after you pee in a jar, let it sit there for about 5-6 hours and then go check on it and see what you got. Sometimes you'll get cloudiness, which is mucus, which is great, but other times you'll pull these crystals, these white powdery looking stuff, and it is crystals. And why are acids crystals? Well, that's the nature of their structure. They are crystalline in nature. So I kind of view it as, on the inside, acids are dehydrating, right? So on the inside of your body, it's kind of like little shards of glass or really sharp rocks scraping your tissues, because that is what's causing the mucus to come and protect itself. So you need to get that out. And the whole time that you want to heal your body, that you want to regenerate and detox in this way, you're always going to be strengthening those kidneys. There's not going to be a time that you stop, because you're pulling from all the different areas of your body. Healing happens from the kidneys out, from the colon out. So we want to strengthen those bowels and those kidneys the entire time, because they're going to be processing the acids from the rest of your body. So that's very important. Strengthen those channels of elimination. And how do we do this? How do we do all of this? Fruits, berries, melons. That's the top of the mountain. We need to consume alkaline chemistry. Put yourself in a healing environment. Any toxic relationships that you have, if you're in a job that you're just so unhappy with, maybe you have to stick it out for a little while, but open yourself up to the universe. Tell yourself or write intentions down that you want to find something, you want to be happy, if that's your goal. I mean, that's my goal in life, is to be happy. And so you need to make a plan. What's your game plan? Let's make a plan. Gotta alkalize your body. You strengthen genetic weaknesses. How do we do this? Well, fruits are really good. The other reason why fruits are so good is because they are easy to digest. They take about half an hour. They have the good fiber. They clean out your colon. They're hydrating. Like I said, you had that chemistry in it, that living chemistry. And so it's all about efficiency and simplicity. What happens when you eat meat? Well, number one, it's dead. You cooked it. It's putrefactive. So our colons are designed in such a way that they bend and twist for maximum absorption of our foods, because we want to absorb most of the nutrition that we get from our foods. And our colons, Well, they take about 8 hours, I think. I'm not exactly sure on this number, but it takes a lot longer than a true carnivore like a cat. Their digestive system moves the meat through in like 3-4 hours. So when we have meat, it's just like when you observe it out on the road. It's decaying, and it invites things that like vultures and maggots. Well, inside is no different. You are inviting bacteria, parasites to come and feed on that, to help you break it down, because otherwise it's just going to sit there and still rots, which parts of it do. Parts of it do get stuck in your colon. So that's what happens. Also, what happens, why people think that you get so much energy from meat, is because of the neurotransmitters. So we feel like food gives us energy. Well, that is false. So we actually gain more energy with the less obstructions that we have in our body. Just like you cannot create nor destroy any energy, so our systems have this energy in it, and it all depends upon what you feed it. What are you giving energy to? When you eat meat, you are devoting so much energy to breaking down your food. When you eat gluten, which is another abrasive protein, it is taking a lot of energy from your body. So let's get on the side of simplicity. Let's just eat fruits and make things easier. So you're going to strengthen genetic weaknesses by using fruit, simplicity, efficiency, and also herbal formulas that are tissue specific. So I highly recommend, in my practice, I give people a protocol, and usually it's 2 or 3 months. People don't want to think that they're going to be detoxing for years. That might be how long it takes. Especially if you're not willing to put in the work that it takes to just dig right in, then it's going to take a little bit. But it's okay if you use the herbs too on top of eating fruits, and maybe even a salad at night. Green smoothies, green juices. Maybe if you're transitioning, I'll say maybe eating a light vegetable soup or steaming some vegetables. But remember, it's all about simplicity. So the herbs are going to give you formulas for strengthening your kidneys, your kidney bladder, your stomach and bowels, your endocrine glands, moving your lymphatic system. Because the other thing about your lymphatic system is it doesn't have a pump. I mean, the heart is not a pump for the blood either. It's fed by oxygen, by breathing, and that's, in fact, how your lymphatic system moves too, is by oxygenation and muscular movements. So many people are stagnant, and that leads to stagnant lymph. Well, astringents are a way to help move that lymphatic system, and fruits are full of astringent powers, like your lemons, your grapes, your pomegranates. So we have these things that are moving the lymphatic system and strengthening the organs and glands at the same time. That's essentially what you want to do. The third step is detoxify, so getting the toxins out. Things like your herbs will also do this, like your cilantro, your parsleys, your alfalfa. These things are going to bind with that chemistry that really doesn't belong in your body. And so the herbs and the fruits, berries and melons, is your power team. Now occasionally these aren't strong enough, so we'll go to the glandulars, which are harvested from happy cows in New Zealand. So some people are ethically against this, but sometimes people are just so weak in their endocrine glands, so we use the glandulars. And why? Because these are cellular memories. Your cells are just memories. This is why we inherit things from our parents, because as we were in our mama's bellies, our heart, our liver, our lungs were forming out of the cellular memory from our mother and possibly our father. We inherit these genetic weaknesses because they are simply genetic memories. So we can go beyond that, though, because we are encoded with this intelligent memory of true expression. And that is what regenerative healing is all about, is aligning with the divine nature, truth with a capital T. So that's essentially where we're at. And fruits, berries, and melons, and herbs and glandulars are going to be your friends. Another thing that I just want to mention is Iridology is the best tool for assessing the lymphatic system. We don't have any other tools for assessing the lymphatic system, but we can look in eyes and see that, especially if a person has a green eye, that person is very lymphatically stagnant because there's only blue and brown eyes. Green eyes is like a yellow, whitish cloudiness over a blue eye. And we also see eyes change. So we use the eyes as a tool to assess where the genetic weaknesses are, where the toxins are, where the lymphatic stagnation is. And we use symptomology. I listen to your story. What are you experiencing? What have you experienced throughout your life? We look at signs of your body. Are your fingernails rigid? What does your tongue look like? Do you have bags under your eyes? These are our tools. This is listening to your story, and this is helping you to heal yourself. You're the driver's seat. You are the only one that's going to be able to heal yourself. And the question really is, are you ready? So I'll leave you with that. Might have been a little bit much, might have been a little sporadic, but I had to get it out there. So let me know if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to be talking to you soon. Thank you.